My name is Jim Walsh. I'm a lifelong resident of the South Hills of Pittsburgh. Before I joined the march, I was a welfare caseworker for about 9 years. I joined the march because I decided to live my life by priorities, and when I shuffled all the cards, this is the #1 priority. There's nothing that affects everybody on the face of the earth more so than this issue. We have to bring down nuclear weapons. We have to stop the insanity of continuing to build toward the destruction of the planet Earth. Deterrence is justified by governments by the claim that the people of the world are so out of control that they need doomsday to keep them in control. Well, we the people know that it's governments that need the control. And it's time to bring it down. It's time to make them stop. As Dwight Eisenhower said, one of these days the people of the world want peace so much the governments are going to have to get out of the way and give it to them. And I said to myself, why not now?
My name's Jerry Rubin, not the original Jerry Rubin, and I'm 42 years old, and I lived half of my life in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I left back on July 4th, 1967 to go out to LA. But my heart's always been in Philadelphia. I still root for the Philadelphia Phillies and the Philadelphia Eagles. We're marching eastward now for nuclear disarmament. I'm looking forward very much to being at Independence Hall on election eve for what I think is going to be a very wonderful Candlelight Eve vigil. I guess Philadelphia is a very appropriate place to hold this candlelight vigil on election eve because it is a very, very founding spot for our country. We have a lot of national and international peace groups headquartered in Philadelphia. The Gray Panthers, who are supporting the Peace March. In fact, Maggie Kuhn was speaking at a rally in Los Angeles just before the Peace March left, the day before. The Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, the American Friends Service Committee, all of these peace groups are headquartered in Philadelphia. I'd like to say hi to my former friends from Central High School and some of the people from Temple University, where I took a few classes. And I'd like to say hello to my mom and dad, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. I know we haven't seen each other in years, and I know you're working hard for peace and disarmament there, and we'll make that connection in Philadelphia. And I love you very much.
Hi, my name is Chris Bell. I'm a student at Penn State. I heard about the Great Peace March through my school paper, The Collegian, an advertisement that said I can make history instead of just take it. Well, with a little help from the Assistant Dean of Agriculture, James McCoy, I was able to bring my school with me on the march. So not only am I making history, but I'm also taking it. I think that the people of Penn State are winners. We have the #1 football team in the country, and I love my school, and that's why I'm on the march. I think that everyone there, all 30,000 students that I represent, can realize that they have the opportunity to do something as well. I've learned that here on the march, that a single person can get up, make a stand, make a difference. I think that those people could work with the local Freeze group, the Wesley Foundation in State College. They can call their congressman on June 3rd to help repeal the testing in Nevada test site. And they can do anything for peace. There's plenty of people at Penn State that are working hard. The black students have showed that by having a shantytown in an attempt to get Penn State to divest from apartheid. And I think that all students at Penn State could join in and work for peace.
My name is Phil Graff, and I'm from Dalton, Pennsylvania, by way of being born in Brooklyn, New York. I moved to Pennsylvania 22 years ago, and I love it. I wouldn't move anywhere else. I'm out here in Denver visiting my daughter, who happens to be on the Great Peace March. She's sitting right in front of me over here. I'm very proud of her. I'm a businessman. I own a factory, and I have been working for peace for probably the last 30 years. I am not marching. I have marched. I've marched to Washington before the Vietnam War, during the Vietnam War, and after the Vietnam War. I have contributed money to this march. I think that is the least that we can do. Money is nothing, nothing compared to life. And it seems so ludicrous to me that a march of this type should have so much trouble with the financial end of it. I just can't understand that. And all I could say is, as I said, I've been doing this for now. I've been involved in the peace movement for almost 30 years, and I hope, if we're all lucky, that people will still be involved in the peace movement 30 years from now. Because if we're not going to be here.
Hi, my name's Lori Graff. I'm from Dalton also. I was living in Colorado when I heard about this, and I have a lot of feelings about it, certainly because for the 25 years that I've been around, my father and mother have been working on the issue, on all different issues, on peace issues. My feeling was that I've done a lot of peace work before, and I've never had a chance to do enough. Every time I finish something, I say that wasn't enough. And this march is enough. This march, what we're doing is reaching out and saying to people, get up and do something. For you in Pennsylvania, the people that I graduated from high school with in Clark Summit and the people that I've known my whole life, it's time for us. It's time for us to get up and do something. So please, when we come through the state, come see us and get involved now, because there's a lot that you can do, and it's time to do it now.
My name's Dick McQuaid, and I'm from Carnegie, Pennsylvania. And from Carnegie, we moved to Weirton, West Virginia. From West Virginia, I moved into Las Vegas, Nevada, where I worked in the casinos there, and I also did protest work with the secular Franciscans and the Franciscans up at the Nevada test site for quite a few years. Up there I was doing videotape work, and it was picked up by the people in Pasadena, California, and they put a documentary out on it, changed it into 3/4 inch, and made a documentary out of it. And at that time, a couple of years ago, I found out about the Great Peace March, and I was interested in it ever since, and I still continue to work with people at the test site when I get the opportunity. But right now I'm with the Great Peace March, working my way back into Washington, D.C. When I stop in Pittsburgh, I hope to see you folks and have you working with us to help get the nuclear bombs down.
My name is Shirley Carter, and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the reason why I came on the march is because I have cerebral palsy, and I wanted to show people that people who have disabilities care about America too. And the reason why I wanted to share that everybody who has a disability is not dumb or not ignorant too, because most people think that people who have disabilities are totally out of it. And that's one of the reasons why. And another reason why is that I just wanted people to know about nuclear disarmament. It's a very, very dangerous situation that we're living in today. And because of the nuclear, the disasters in Pennsylvania that we had, and because of the one we had in Russia too, that's what inspired me to come on this march.
Okay, my name is Linda Casassa. I'm from Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania, and before I joined the march I was working as a psychiatric aide in California. I'm working co-organizing the elementary school for the kids on the march, kindergarten through 4th grade, and it's a lot of work, but the kids are nice, huh? You think the kids are nice? And we've been going on field trips. Part of their education is just learning about the places we pass through. And they've been to the early man site, which had evidence of man 50,000 years ago, the oldest site in the Americas. They've been to Dinosaur National Monument, Valley of Fire State Park, Zion National Park, and they're really learning a lot on the way.
Okay, I'm Bill Patterson. I'm from Pittsburgh, Point Breeze section. Retired steel worker and an artist. I was involved in things in Pittsburgh, art festivals and things. And as I say, I'm retired, not by choice. The factory I was in shut down. I was lucky enough to get a pension. And I was just starting another life, I guess, as starting to open my eyes and got back to art, which I wanted to do all my life anyway. And one thing led to another, and it led to here.
All right, my name's Michael Cutie, and I'm from Philadelphia, PA. Actually, smack dab in the center city, just about. I've been doing pastry work. I teach French pastry, and I've worked in numerous restaurants all over Philadelphia. And it's kind of funny how I got involved in Pro Peace, or the Peace March, I shall say. It started out with just a friend of mine that moved to LA, and she gave me a call like 2 weeks before the march was starting to get together in February, and she said wanted to know if I wanted to work, and I said sure, I'd like to do it. And it was about 2 weeks before, so then I headed out there because I was really interested in. I wasn't involved enough in something that I felt strongly about, and this was a good thing for me to do and get involved in nuclear disarmament and just find out more information and spread the word across the nation. So got myself involved, came out there on February 1st. I was working at Pro Peace as a chef, running a kitchen, working real hard, and then things started getting a little rocky road towards the first 2 weeks into the march, and that's when I had to reevaluate my situation, and I busted my leg, and I had to go home for a little while and get some money together, and then I got myself back out to the march, met him back out here, met him at Glenwood Springs, and gonna go with him all the way to Washington, D.C.
My name is Diane Clark, and I'm a native-born Pittsburghite, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that is. And I had been teaching kindergarten children on the shores of Lake Chautauqua when at one of my CD meetings I heard about the Great Peace March. And I instantly, as most of us have had that feeling, that's for me. I inquired about it and everything fell right into place. And a few months later, I appeared for training in White Oaks. I had the vision that I wanted to be the litter lady. And I walked up to the people who seemed to be in charge and asked to be the litter lady. And they said, why, certainly you can be the litter lady. But what are we going to do about all this garbage? Because they had piles and piles of garbage about that they hadn't quite figured out how to take care of. So from that I got to be the garbage litter lady, and that involved also being the recycling lady, because recycling is something that America really needs to do. My commitment to litter is that it's a form of empowerment. If we really care about this planet, we might not be able to bring the nuclear bombs down right away, but what each one of us can do is pick the litter up, make that an empowering personal act to show how much we care about this planet as a physical structure. You could call it Mother Nature, give it all kind of romantic names, but showing that you refuse to be part of the disposable society that considers this planet a huge garbage can or a huge political map gives you a sense of empowerment. And in picking up litter, you set off ripples that maybe the next time people will look at what's around them in their environment and treasure it and start to see our planet as that little green-blue ball that we've seen the pictures of for outer space. To continue with my Peace March story, I did the garbage and I made a pledge to myself and offered it to the rest of the marchers in Griffith Park before we ever took our first step. I said that while we were marching against nuclear arms, we could also march for a better countryside, and we could pledge ourselves there to leave each campscape cleaner than when we found it and pick up litter along our way. And I figured they'd throw me out of camp and that would be it. But instead they applauded. And I was overwhelmed by that. I thought it was great to have met people of similar consciousness. And 2.5 months later, through deserts and the city streets of Vegas, I've never seen that consciousness flag out. People get tired, they don't want to do that duty all the time. But there's always someone there with that awareness to pick up litter, to leave our campscapes clean. And that's how we've been going.
Pride Pittsburgh, you have an opportunity when we come through to bring marchers into your home. You can invite them to speak to your groups. Churches, we want a peace coalition. We would like everyone in Pittsburgh to work to make this a major event. The Great Peace March is a vehicle toward the path of peace. Come on aboard with us. Maybe we can bring about some effective change if we all do this together. And Anna still doesn't have anything to say. She wrote that speech for me, though, by the way.
The trip seems, for the next 6 months, the trip is going to be spectacular, and there's going to be no problem making it across. The support seems really positive, and the people that are here are just ready for the rest of the journey, and it seems to be a real easy trip. You know, we'll do it, no problem. It'll work.
When you hit your own home turf, what kind of personal outreach are you going to be doing, and how would you like Philadelphians to embrace the march?
Well, hopefully they'll embrace it a lot better than they did when I was there after I left the march. Really, no one was too much interested in what was going on. It seems as though they were not directly affected by it, so it wasn't at their front door yet. But when I get into town, I would like to, just go to all the places, a lot of local places in Center City that I'm used to going to, bars and clubs and stuff, and talking like I did before when I came back, and try to bring some form of consciousness, awareness, and have these people, also get involved in some way, shape, or form with this nuclear disarmament, and see how far it goes from there.
Do you think many people from Philadelphia may join the march at that point to walk down to D.C.?
I think a fair amount would. I think once it makes it to Philadelphia, at least a lot of people said they would, and I believe that they're fairly sincere. There's a lot of people that are pretty active, but they can't afford to take this whole trip, and that's why one of the reasons why I'm doing it, because I wanted to do it for everyone in Philly, because there's not too many people doing it, and I can't afford it, but I'm here anyway.
Well, having never really been west of Pittsburgh before, I've just been in awe of the country. On the march itself, I really thought that people were going to come out against us and tell us how crazy we were and try and take down nuclear weapons. I've been amazed daily at the amount of support that we've had from Los Angeles through the small towns of Eastern California, even in the desert, in the tiny little towns of Baker and Barstow, where they came out and gave us free showers and filled our refrigerator truck full of food. Here in Colorado, it's been incredible. People have opened their homes. Entire resort towns have opened up their hotels and their condominiums for us. I've just completely been in awe of the country and how much support and care they have, how much people really want to take down nuclear weapons. It's obviously time for that to happen. Well, I think that Pennsylvanians can continue as other people in the country have, and giving us food and money and showers, and coming out and donating whatever they can to help the Great Peace March. People have given us socks and T-shirts and whatever they felt that they could do. It's important to realize that monetary things not all that we need. A lot of times, all we really need is for people to come out and shake our hands and say, "We're with you. We care about what you're doing. We want to see nuclear weapons taken down too." Just to see a smile on the side of the road is amazing. I would hope that all the students at Penn State, there's 19 branch campuses all over the state, that those people could come and try and walk with us for one day and just see what it's like and experience the Great Peace March as we experience as we walk through towns. As we come to your town, I hope that people will come out and walk with us. At Penn State, I hope that my friends will be able to continue to throw benefits for the Great Peace March and raise money as they have. The musicians in State College have been incredible in helping us, throwing benefits where they played all original music that they wrote, some of which for the Great Peace March. And other people can join in them in helping out in these kinds of things to give us monetary support, which it also takes for us to go across the country.
The kids have adapted real well. I think they're doing a great job. The kids march as much as they want. They're not pushed to march or march further than they want to. There's always a shuttle for them to get into, and then we come in and they have their school. I think it was the separation from their parents at first, but that's why parents stayed and worked in the school. it's a little tough to be living in a different place every day. But these Wakila and Mark just helped me put up their tents so that when their moms come in from the march, their home will be ready for them. I think they're doing great.
The country has been really, really beautiful. And you are seeing so much more beauty by walking across the United States than anything you've ever seen in your life. It's just what the song says, Purple Mountain Majesty above the Peter train. It is really, really beautiful. And I appreciate doing this very, very much. I tell you, for one thing, their legs should be good and strong by then. And a couple of people should have lost a lot of weight.
How do you think the march will be received in Washington?
Well, I went to Washington already, and they're really waiting for us just to get there. The people from Washington really has a warm reception for us when we get there. Well, I know what it's going to be like when we get there.
Why should minorities be concerned with peace?
Because of the fact that they love the earth. Everybody should really love the earth because of the fact that this is their home. Without the Mother Earth, we wouldn't have no civil rights. We wouldn't have nothing to fight for, really. And that's my biggest reason why I think that everybody, minorities and everybody else, should be involved with this issue.
I know when we left Pittsburgh, I was hearing about big problems in Utah. And we went through Utah, and the people were great. I don't know if they liked us or they didn't, but they didn't bother us one bit. They were just nice. We were bussed up with Mormon Tabernacle Choir and his guests. It was pretty neat. The same day I was at a black church in Calvary Baptist in Salt Lake City. Seen a beautiful sermon there. And the minister spoke about us there and that parish, or whatever you call it. And no negative response anywhere. As far as no more than you'd see anywhere. Just no, I haven't got any bad vibes at all.
You said that this experience is tough. What's the toughest thing about it for you?
Well, being honest, well, my lifestyle's a lot different than a lot of the people in this bunch. They're vegetarians. And the food, number one, they're telling me I'm going to like their food, and there's no way in hell I'm going to ever. I said I grew up in the Depression, and I ate potatoes and ham and that stuff and beans. I was raised on it. But my mother knew how to cook it. And I wasn't going to go back to learning how to eat that stuff and tell me it was healthy for me. I just wasn't going to buy it. I want some meat, potatoes, and gravy, like people in Pennsylvania eat and people from the East. So I had a hard time adjusting to them telling me I'd like their stuff. I smoked. My lungs were burnt out in the kind of work I did in factories and stuff way before.
How do you feel about the people as a group on the march?
I love them, honestly. I don't go along with a lot of their ideas. I know I don't like being told what to do, and some kids are into this stuff of snapping out orders, and I'd like to know where the hell they got this knowledge to tell me things. I mean, they're bright kids, but I'd like to know where they're coming from before they, get this stuff snapping out. And a lot of people. I never did take orders too well. I'm seeing poverty in Pennsylvania. I'm seeing it all over it. As they shut every one of these mills down, there's no place for these people to go. They're just taking that money out here, out the west, or wherever they're building this stuff. They're supplying other people. I mean, they're keeping some people happy with this crap. They're just keeping, I don't know, they're making their pockets fat. They're just moving this money around and keeping this junk going, this building bigger and better weapons to kill each other with, where it's total insanity. They know that. God knows who wants to blow anything up. But they just keep going on and on, bigger and better rockets for what? I mean, who are they fighting? Who are they kidding each other with this stuff? Even the missiles, what the hell are they? They're just blowing up the world. But they're keeping it, well, they're just keeping people off the streets. You know, put them in uniforms, and that way they don't have unemployment. All right, that's what they did do. In my day, they emptied the streets, all the poor kids, they sent them to Korea. They didn't know where else to go. They didn't even know what the hell it was about anyway. That's where they went, though. Got them off the streets. Then you made a bunch of shells. Well, I'm drawing this as I see it, day by day. The lines, the food, the tents, everything, the vehicles, the whole city as it moves across. I draw it day by day. I'm lucky that I can sketch fast, and I'm recording what this is. I'm just putting it down on paper day by day. The town we're in.
Why do you think that's important?
Pardon me?
Why do you think that's important to do?
Well, it's a memory. It's day by day, and half the time it keeps me sane. If you're sitting in a line, if you're going to sit in a line 4 hours, you might as well draw what's in front of you. I did that in school when I was a kid looking out the window. Same thing. I'm just putting my mind somewhere else. Tired of drawing, I write letters home.
How do you see the next 6 months of this march? What kind of an impact do you think it'll have as the march goes on, especially as it goes through Pittsburgh?
I know. I just feel this is just budding. It's just beginning. I feel very strong that it's going to be the most powerful march of this century. I think America wants it. I just feel that they will. The people are behind us. And we're underdogs now. We got knocked down pretty good at Barstow, and we were still there. And America likes an underdog. The limousines are gone, all the flashy stuff, but we're still here. We're still marching. I don't think they even knew we were going to. They were surprised like a week later we were still heartbeat. And we're going across now, and we're just getting stronger. And all these people, the people today in America, middle America, which we started out to communicate with, we are communicating with us. They're coming out of everywhere with a checkbook or a box of cookies or fixing a tire or letting it to a truck. And they're glad to do it. Or they've taken us in their houses. And when they communicate, it's great. Because when they leave, we're just meeting these great people that have been waiting.
For you to come along,
waiting for us to come along, because when you're in town alone and you're the hell raiser and you don't like the way things are going, you're branded the town nut. You know, or you're one of them.
When you get to Pittsburgh, what do you think that's going to be like? What do you miss the most? What are you going to do when you get there?
I'm going to cry. I'll be so happy. I love the East. I love Pittsburgh. And I love the people there, the hard-working people. I love meat and potatoes, the milk. And I'm going to just wait because they're good people. They're down, they're hurting, and they're going to be behind us 100%. All the way to Washington. A hell of a lot of them will keep on going from Washington to Washington, right with us.
And what do you think that's going to be like, getting to Washington? What kind of an impact do you think it'll have on the country?
I got a wild imagination.
Be wild.
Well, I don't know how they're going to stop it. I don't know what's going to happen because so many people are for this thing. I just can't even imagine what's going to happen when we start coming to Washington and our friends, people like us are supporting us. And they're going to be there. When I wrote one kid, a good friend of mine in Boston, in January, I told him what I was doing. And he was a peace person way before I was. He was so proud of me. He's an artist from Boston University. That the first letter back, he told me he was proud of me. And number two, he says, I'll see you in Washington.
We have
a very diverse group of people.
The mic down just a little bit.
Our youngest marcher is 1 year old. Our oldest marcher is 78. We have about 60 marchers over 50 years old, and it's a pleasure to watch everyone working together. I think our strength is our diversity. When we made it over Loveland Pass, headed into Denver, I kind of knew that it was all downhill from then. And we're getting close to Washington, D.C., closer every day. And
what about the next 6 months?
Well, the next 6 months are going to be a real challenge for us. We really have to start focusing more on the issues. We have long meetings, and we're debating a lot of things. But what we really need to do is know that we have a real mission ahead of us to involve as many individuals, as many groups, and as many constituencies as possible in supporting us, not supporting them also, on our road to achieving peace. The March for Peace is not just a march, but more of a concept, too. The March for Peace will always continue until we put an end to it. I'm really looking forward to getting to Philadelphia especially. I know they have a lot of the major national and international groups, the Gray Panthers, the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, the American Friends Service Committee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'd like to do outreach in the schools, the high schools there. It would be good to, maybe some of my old teachers are still there. I'm sure they remember me. People at Temple University, things like that. I'd like to do as much as I can to work in the minority community also. I think it's crucial. I know that Philadelphia was the main supporter of the Nuclear Freeze Initiative in the whole country, and I expect that we'll have the best turnout in Philadelphia of any city, except possibly Washington, D.C. Well, when we reach Washington, D.C., I expect it to have substantial impact. But I think it's very important for the American people and people all over the world to know that that is not a finish. That's a new perception, a new beginning for peace and disarmament. At that time, what we need to do is settle down, settle our peace city there in Washington, D.C., evaluate the march, meet with local, national, and international peace group representatives, stay possibly even for a month, maybe even through the conclusion of the United Nations Year of Peace. I hope we can celebrate Thanksgiving together for peace, Christmas together for peace, and I hope at that time we'll have an agenda for 1987 that we can all work with. I hope we can become an umbrella organization and finally unfragment the peace movement. That's the most important thing.
My vision of Washington, D.C. as the Great Peace March arrives, first of all, is that we would walk into that town the way we've walked into so many hundreds of other towns, that people in that town would sense the harmony, the sense of peace, the sense of internal identity that each one of us has, and external identity among the marchers, that we would create a feeling of peace within Washington, D.C. And from that center, from the peaceful way that we live and cooperate and work and play together, waves and ripples would be sent out to all the other people from other cities in the United States that chose to join us on that day, whatever day it is, that we choose to come to Washington, D.C. And that during that time, people would develop their awareness of what this march was all about and perhaps send larger ripples, political ripples, out to the hearts of the people in America. And also on that day, I would envision mayors all across the United States honoring the peace ribbons that they sent to us and declaring their cities also peace cities, starting with each individual living peacefully within themselves, within their home, then within their community, seeing themselves as a part of our country, and our country as just another piece within this planet that we live on. And then when we're in Washington, D.C., for maybe one day, we could stop making nuclear arms. Surely that would not create a war or a Holocaust, and that one day might feed the world for a week. Civil employees could give up part of their salary to help the people who work in munitions factories. And if America for one day just didn't make bombs, we could have an impact. Maybe from there on, we could do it once a month. And who knows what steps could go out from there.
Thank you very much.